There he is, right there. What is that? Is that?
I am here.
Oh, what's that field called?
Lumen.
Lumen, of course, Lumen. And what does Lumen do?
Lights up. I don't know. I have no idea. It did the opposite of what the Broncos offense did all day today until the very end of the game where, I mean, they had nothing on offense. Absolutely nothing cooking until the very end of the game. But, guys, the biggest takeaway that I can bring to this show is what I just learned talking to Sean Payton at the post-game press conference. You look at Bo Nix's stat line, and you are disgusted. That is so bad. According to Andrew Mason, a friend of the show, this is only the 10th time that any quarterback has ever had over 40 passing attempts and under 140 yards of passing. That's not including sacks. He had 108 30 passing yards, 42 passing attempts. Only the 10th time in NFL history that has ever happened, where it's just so inefficient. And so people look at that and they say, oh, Bo, no, not from a rookie quarterback that has all of our hope for this team. And Sean says, don't point the finger at Bo. Point it at the offensive line. Point it at the running game. Point it at the wide receivers. He pointed at me, is what Sean said. He said, point the finger at everyone else, but not Bo Nix. And it's going to be interesting when we talk to Sean tomorrow after he watches the tape, if he maintains this, or if this is kind of a way to really take pressure off of his rookie quarterback, which is not a surprise if that is the tactic. But from what he saw on the field, and obviously he knows the game plan better than anyone, only Todd Davis might know the game plan better than the guys on the field today. But Sean said, do not point the finger at Bo, point it at me. And just how different is that from Sean Payton a year ago with his other quarterback, when it was Russell Wilson who went out and struggled? Sean had no problem pointing the finger at Russ and saying, hey, I mean, what can we do on offense? What can we do as coaches? What can we do as receivers if he's not throwing the ball right? What can we do as offensive line if he's going to run into sacks? Complete opposite this time. Sean is not pointing the finger at Bo Nix. He's pointing it to everyone else.
That's very good to see. I think that means they definitely found their quarterback of the future, or at least a quarterback that Sean likes. How was Bo's vibe after the game? I mean, were you able to get in the locker room and see, his reaction to the loss, his performance? How did he take everything today?
Yeah, I want to say this is the first time, I don't want to say Bo was rattled, but it was the most, rattled's not the right word, but it was the most just shook, I guess, a little bit, but not fully, that we've seen him since he's been here. Of course, he is just like as calm as can be. This guy doesn't get rattled. It just seems like he was just a little bit off after this. And he said he was a little nervous, but it wasn't big time that impacted him. But guys, I thought it was pretty obvious that this was a rookie making his first start in the NFL with a line that was a little shaky, with a running game that initially was really good. There was a point in the first half there where the Broncos running game was averaging over 4.5 yards per carry, and Bo was averaging 1.5 yards per pass attempt. That is mind-blowing. And yet the Broncos are still throwing the ball more than they were passing the ball. That was when the game was manageable. They had a lead at halftime, and they were still throwing the ball more than running it, despite the passing game being completely inefficient there. And then, of course, in the second half, the running game was just absolutely non-existent. The Seattle Seahawks said, oh my gosh, they're going to throw for 1.5 yards per attempt. They are so afraid to break out this playbook with Bo Nix. We've already seen him make an interception in the first half, which was just a bad decision, he admitted after the game. And I mean, how can you not? There were so many Seahawks there. And he really could have had 5 interceptions on this game, guys. So it was a rookie who looked like a rookie quarterback, and it was really the first time we've seen this. And so I'd say after the game, it was really the first time we'd seen this type of Bo Nix as well. But the Broncos running game was strong to start, and then they finished with Bo Nix being the leading rusher, which just absolutely cannot happen for this team to be successful, or really even marginally successful. That cannot be the formula. Jaleel and Javonte each finished with under 3 yards per carry. After starting the game, rushing for over 5, then at one point it dipped to 4.5 in the first half. Still, it was abysmal there in the second half. They were able to do nothing, where as the defense really started incredible. Obviously, first 2 plays, sack, interception, and then safety. You get 2 safeties in 1 quarter. You got to be kidding me. You better win that game. And then you get another one where the defense picks off a ball and you only get a field goal from that. The Broncos offense has to capitalize better, because in the third quarter, it wasn't, you could say that the defense got a little tired, but in the third quarter, we're not talking fourth quarter. Third quarter, the Broncos give up 149 yards to Seattle's offense. That's unacceptable. By the end of the third quarter, Kenneth Walker had over 100 rushing yards. We saw flashes of greatness from this defense in the first half, but Seattle just came out, punched the Broncos in the mouth. The Broncos don't get a first down on their very first drive coming out, and then Seattle has 3 straight scoring drives. So the Broncos were in this game before it got out of hand, and then it kind of got back into it. They were in it in the first half. They were winning in the first half despite really poor offense. There was still a lot of hope coming out of this game, but man, this was one that felt like they really had until that third quarter.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, they really did suck. Did you, what do you think was the biggest thing that went wrong? Like the one thing where it's like, oh, if they just fixed that, they would have won the game.
Yeah, I mean, turnovers is that one thing right there. I mean, you see it. The Broncos, if Bo Nix doesn't throw that interception, they have a field goal. Now, it did turn into a safety, so that really only cost them 1 point right there. But still, you don't throw that. Maybe you get a touchdown. Obviously, Bo Nix has that other terrible interception. I mean, there's no other way to put it. He threw it into triple coverage. The receiver was not there near the end of the game, and that felt like, okay, game over. Well, then the Broncos were 1 inch from Riley Moss being able to get the ball back and then being able to drive again with 1:40 left on the clock. Obviously, a lot of ifs, ands, or buts here with this. So I think it just shows you that there's a lot that needs to be cleaned up, but we did see a lot of hope. But at the end of the day, I mean, sitting here watching this game, I know every Broncos fan just felt like, man, another year, but the same old Broncos. And just obviously the thing that's going to need to be cleaned up is Bo Nix. And now Sean Payton's pointing the finger at everyone else. So then everyone else, if that really is the case, everyone else needs to step up to help Bo Nix, because what you can't do is you can't go out next week with TJ Watt, who just had a monster game, and have Bo Nix throw the ball 42 times. I don't care if Justin Fields is the quarterback, if Russell Wilson's the quarterback, if I'm the quarterback of the Pittsburgh Steelers. If Bo Nix goes out there and your 2 running backs average 2.8 yards per carry collectively, and Bo Nix drops back 42 times, that is a recipe for disaster. So they need to be more balanced, and Sean Payton did put some of this on him. Yes, it needs to be on him, because the game plan needs to be better next week as well. If you are at any point in this game winning or right in it like they were in the first half, and your running backs are averaging 4.5 yards per carry, do not constantly throw the ball with Bo Nix. And that was something that Sean Payton pointed to after the game. He said, we need to be better on first down. We can't put ourselves in these positions where then we have to throw because we have 2nd and 11, 2nd and 9. So what I would challenge Sean with is, if you run it on first down and it's 2nd and 8 or 2nd and 9, run it again. See if you can get 6 yards there, instead of then just resorting back to, okay, our rookie's got to save us here, 2nd and 9. We're going to have 2 straight passes, and obviously that first one probably they know a run or a pass is coming, and then the third one, of course, they know a pass is coming. So Sean needs to do a better job, and he admitted it today that he needs to help Bo, because you cannot keep putting a rookie quarterback out there and throwing 42 times a game.
No, I think 42 is too many for a rookie quarterback. I do feel like conflicted with, changing the game plan, because it did feel like it was a game plan for Bo to succeed. I felt like it was RPO heavy and a good amount of running. I just didn't feel like the RPOs were necessarily shots, to really get big yardage, and there was no yak. I feel like every time we threw the ball, it was tackled immediately. And the times that we did take shots, they were either interceptions or almost interceptions. So it's really hard for me to say, like, we got to mix things up and take some more shots downfield. I just didn't feel like they looked the greatest. As far as the offensive line, do you have any updates on Garrett Bowles or how he's feeling? Because like you said, next week, TJ Watt's coming into town. We definitely feel like we need Garrett Bowles. What do you feel like? Do you have any updates on him?
Yeah, he's going to be fine. He bruised his ankle, and I believe either did come back into the game or was going to be able to come back into the game if the Broncos got the ball on that final possession. So he's okay. He did not talk. He was very, very upset in the locker room after the game. He did not talk to media. This is a guy where when I saw him that upset, what came to my mind was, man, does Garrett realize this is like the same year or a different year, same results already? Now, the vibe in the locker room was a lot more positive than I think Broncos country feels right now. The vibe was, man, we got a lot to learn from this game. There are some takeaways, but everyone that we talked to, offense, defense, Josh Reynolds, Pat Surtain, who else? Baron Browning, they all remain optimistic on this season. So optimism from the locker room, optimism from Sean Payton, but Broncos country, I know, is really, really feeling this one.
Yeah. When Sean says that it's everybody's fault but Bo, do you buy that?
I think that is him protecting his rookie quarterback at all costs. And as Todd kind of said, like, when I joined and explained this, Todd said, like, that means the Broncos have found their future franchise quarterback. That's what it really feels like, is Sean Payton saying, okay, I'll let a quarterback that I don't really believe in go down with the ship, a.k.a. Russell Wilson last year. Bo's the guy. I fully believe in him. And Sean might be hooking his anchor to Bo, saying, if he's going down, I'm going down too. Now, it's going to be interesting to follow this throughout the season. Does that continue where he sticks with Bo, or at some point does it change? Because especially with just how strong Sean came out to defend Bo after this game. And look, everyone understands, from media to fans, that this is Bo Nix's first game. If Sean would have come out and said, yeah, rookies look like rookies and we'll learn from this. He's playing in a really tough environment, which it was very loud here throughout the game. That's kind of one thing that I noticed about playing in Seattle, being here, is it's loud throughout the entire game. It's not just the fourth quarter. And so Sean had plenty of excuses to say, like, man, it was tough for a rookie. We got to do better for him. He's got to do better. But with how strong he was defending Bo, I think that says a lot, and I think that's going to say a lot moving forward. At what point does he kind of change his tune on him, if ever?
Well, I think we have a very interesting week ahead of us. We've made a lot of projections, and I don't know if they're all going to stand throughout the season, but I can't wait to have you back in the studio with us, so we have a lot to talk about for sure.
Yeah, I said they're not making the playoffs, right? I'm pretty sure.
No,
that was
you
my,
said 11
season.
and 6, and they were going to Super Bowl.
I said 10 and 7. They're still going 10 and 7. We can't lose hope after one game, guys.
All right. Also said being the Chiefs. Well, the dream isn't dead yet. Thanks, Zach. We'll see you on Monday. Tomorrow.
Yep, see you tomorrow, guys.
Wow, tomorrow.